Good day and welcome to Kimo Designs. So today we'll be designing this particular flyer I did for a client, and the video might be quite long but useful if you are a beginner. Okay, so let's dive right into it. So you open your Photoshop and the resources I used is in the description. If you extract it, this is how it's going to be like. So you move in there, and if you're a beginner and you haven't installed a font before, you go into the font, select or right click and install nicely like that. Really simple. So let's dive into it. Let's create a new file. And as I said in my previous video, that anytime you are working on a project, you need to give your project names. So this is anti-beauty pastries. We are going to change the unit to be pixels and the width to be 1080 with a height of 1350, and the resolution will be 300. If you want to go further with the color mode and color profile, I have a video explaining everything into detail. So let's create a file nicely in here. And I think this is not how your workspace is going to be like if it's your first time opening Photoshop. Let me try and see if I can explain things. Okay, this is how it's going to be. So you need to customize your workspace as a beginner, and maybe the interface might be confusing a little bit if it's your first time, but take it easy. So let's bring our mouse pointer somewhere here and left click and drag it to the page, okay, like this nicely, and delete it. Yes, so the second thing we are going to do is the comment. With a comment, you left click and drag it the same way and delete it. We have history here, you leave it behind. You drag the properties and place it beneath the history. So if you see the blue in here, you just release your hands nicely like that. And with the adjustments to, you do same. You left click with the adjustments and you release your hand in here. But we are not going to do anything with the libraries for now. So we would drag it to the page and we will take it down like that. Now we have layers, channels and paths. You see, you're a beginner, so I want things to be simple for you. So you bring the channels outside, you left click and bring it outside, then you take it down like this. You bring the parts outside, then you discard it nicely, and everything will seem simple for you. And also, the next thing we are going to do is to add some tools in here. So you come to the window, okay, come to the window and add a character. I will explain it for you, so take it easy. You come to the character and the character will be automatically added to the adjustments and the rest. So I think we can delete the history, yes, but you let's leave it like that. Come to the windows, properties, it has been added, everything has been added nicely. The ones we want has been added, so we leave it like that. And moving to the tools, the left side here, we can break the tools into two. That's how I want it to be. You can leave yours to be single, but I want to break it into two so that it will be easy for me accessing them. So I think we are cool. This small icon here is what we use to break the tools into two. And also make sure the show transform controls is being checked. And I think if yours is like this, the rulers, if your rulers is out of the game, you can bring it in by hitting Control R, okay, or you come to the view like this, view, and you have your rulers in here, Control R, rulers. It's good for measurement, and you see something like that, you bring it in. So let me go back. It's really cool. So you see the interface is quite okay now. See, let's come to the windows. We need to save the interface. So you come to the Windows, Workspace, a new workspace. Okay, so you create it, new workspace. Mine will be Kimo Designs Workspace. You can create yours with your brand name, then you save it nicely here. The reason we are saving the workspace is because if in case we mistakenly do things like this, we can come to the Windows workspace, hover your mouse and reset to Kimo Designs workspace or your brand name workspace. So when you click on it, automatically it rearranges everything nicely for you. That is the reason why you need to save your workspace. And also, you can see this small asterisk here. We need to save our PSD file. It is the first thing I will advise every beginner to do anytime you create a new project or a new file. So you come to your file, save as nicely like this. Then you come to your desktop and save it as I've saved mine here. So Beauty Pastries, you save it as PSD file. The reason why we do that is because maybe you might have a breakdown, you see, or scratch disk. So you need to save it, else you may lose everything and start over. So it's very important to save it as PSD file. Alright, so the next thing we are going to do for the flyer is to prepare our color palette. That's what I do. So you prepare your color palette, so you move into your design, and to prepare a color palette you come to the windows in here. You can see swatches at the bottom here, then you click on the swatches to prepare your color palette. Now the color palette the swatches came with other things like how we discarded the rest. So you left click and drag the swatches, you separate it from these people or these groups, then you take the group down so that it will be left with the swatches nicely in here. And you may ask, what is the use of the swatches? It is a folder which contains colors that you use for your workflow. So we are going to create anti-beauty pastries folder. That is, yes, this anti-beauty pastries folder, the colors we will be using. So we will create a folder here and name it anti-beauty pastries nicely like this. Okay, then we will save it. Okay, so the folder will be added to the swatches and we will be adding the colors like that. But I don't have the flyer in here, so I think I have to bring the flyer. So I'll drag the flyer and over on the PSD file and bring it back whilst I'm holding on it. You don't need to release your hand. Okay, so you click on OK, then the flyer will be in here. So I want to add the colors. So I'll come to the foreground color, that's set foreground color. So I'll click on the foreground color, bring it somewhere here, and select the background color. So when you select the background color, it will be filled in the foreground. Then you add it to the anti-beauty pastries. Okay, so you add it as to create new swatch. So you add it in here, then you give it a name, and mine will be primary like this nicely. And I'll add this color too as well. I want to zoom in, but it's not working. You see, I want to use my scroll wheel with my mouse to zoom in, but it's not coming. So this is what I'm going to do. I'll move to the edit or control K, but I'll move to the edit. I want you guys to see the process. So I'll move to the edit, come to preference, you hover your mouse, other pop-ups shows up. You move to the general like this, control key, come to the tools and zoom with scroll wheel. So you check in here and click on the OK. So now I can zoom in and out nicely. Okay, so I want to zoom in and select this color. So I'll come to the foreground here, select the foreground, pick the color from the flyer and hit on OK so that it will be filled in the foreground. After it has been filled, then you add it to anti-beauty pastries folder. Okay, so you add it nicely like this, and I'll name it secondary. So I'll click on the OK, and I think we have the red pink something, the red pink color here for the pastries. So I'll do same, click on the foreground, fill it with this color. Okay, then I will add it. Since it has been filled in the foreground, I will add it to anti-beauty pastries and give it 10% color. Okay, 10% color or accent or whatever you want to name it, but I'll give it 10%, and I'll show you why I name it 10% after the design. All right, so I think I have 3 colors in here for anti-beauty pastries, and as a beginner I need to adapt this style of design. Okay, you need to create a folder, you need to prepare all your colors so that you'll be more efficient and easy to access them. All right, so let me delete the flyer and let's start working on it. So what I did was to create a rectangle. So this is the rectangle. Maybe the tools, you are a beginner, but let's manage and learn from here. Okay, so this is the rectangle tool. This is the rectangle. You can see the preview, what they are doing and what it is used for. So you select on the rectangle tool and you left click and drag to fill the entire page nicely. So when you release your hand, it will fill with a red color like this. The fill color will be here with a stroke of black or whatever it is. So I want us to change the color. Okay, but before that, I want you to observe this, that the rectangle tool is still activated. So you come to the anti-beauty pastries and you see the primary color is in there. So you select it and it will be filled with it nicely. Simple. Okay, simple as that. So I want to move this rectangle, but before I can move it, unless I select the move tool. Okay, so someone will try and do this, try and move it, and it will draw another rectangle. So if you draw another rectangle too, it will be visible in here. So you select it and you would hit on the backspace to delete it. So you come back to the move tool, select the move tool before you can what? Move your rectangle. Please, you need to take note of this. And I want to align it to the middle. And if you want to align it easily using the alignment at the top here, it's disabled. So to enable it, you come to this small icon here, align and distribute. You select selection and you would activate it with a canvas. So when you click on this tool, it will automatically align them vertically and horizontally. If you hover your mouse here, you could see align horizontal centers and align vertical centers. That is the reason why it has been aligned nicely for us. So let's give it a name called overview. So when you select on the rectangle, you hover your mouse here and double click on the rectangle, you can give it overflow. Okay, I'll name it overflow. So overflow will be in here. Then we proceed with the design. So when you zoom in, you will see some patterns, say donuts, and you see, yes, pastries and other nice patterns in there. So we have the patterns in the file we extracted. You come to the pastries, you left click and drag and hover it on the PSD file here. Whilst you are holding on the left click, you release it and it will be shown in here, so you can check it to be corrected. Okay, you can check it nicely to be corrected. The show transform controls that I said you should put it on, this is it. So if it is not on, you wouldn't see it you wouldn't see the edges. Okay, but when you put it on, you could see that you can now hold it and what, be enlarging it and reducing it nicely. So it's very important to make sure it's checked. Okay, so you check it in here. But to transform this or to enlarge it, you just do this nicely in here. Then we have to blend it with a background. Okay, but before we blend it with a background, what I did was to extract the color from the pattern, the orange color from the pattern. So what I did was to select the pastries pattern, Control U to bring the hue and saturation, and I'll take the saturation down, the color orange down, so that we'll be left with the white pattern in there. So I'll click on the OK and change the blending mode to soft light, so that it will blend nicely with the overflow. Okay, that's the background color. If you don't do that, let me show you something here. If you don't do that and you try to blend it straightforward with a soft light, you could see that the orange is taking effect with the overflow. You see, so you can't see the chocolate color well. So that's the reason why I have to take the color orange out like this nicely, so that you see it being combined and so on. So let's move on. Let's select the pastries pattern and reduce it, because we are using it for our background. So let's reduce it to somewhere 15% and click on enter. The opacity or the fill, yeah, you can reduce it to, so you can see it nicely here, and you can hold on your space bar so that this hand tool would show. You can hold on it and you left click and drag your canvas nicely like that. So let's add, we are done with the background. You can see some what do you call it, Gaussian blurs and motion blurs beneath the woman. That is text. Okay, so you select it like this. We need to add text to this. So to add text, you come here, that's T, text. You can even hit on T and the text will be activated. And you change the font to Kingston. You have Kingston here, the font will be, it's in the description. Okay, so you select it here and you have, sorry, let me change the color for you. So you select, the color is, the color for the font, it's the same as the background, so we have to change the color. Okay, so you can see from here, when you select the font, the color is still brown. So let me change the color to be this, then I'll select it. So when I click on it and start typing, you can see it's nicely here. So you type pastries, then as I said earlier on, it's a mistake beginners mostly do. The text is still on, but I want to move it, so I'll come back to the move tool, select the move tool, and I can now access the pastries. So we will come to our character in here and our trackings. This is trackings, so it's used to spacing out the characters. Okay, so we can spacing out a little bit. You click and you you hold it and you take it to your right, or you can use this one, but you left click and hold and take it to your right a little bit, and you could see the trackings nicely. So what I want to do is to enlarge the pastries, the text like this. But the easiest way to do that is to come up here and enlarge it from here. Okay, so that you proportionally everything will enlarge nicely for you. So let me bring it, click here and bring it back a little bit to 50. Then I want to rotate it. Okay, rotate it upside down, and to rotate it, you would bring your mouse somewhere here, your pointer somewhere here at the edge, and you could see it has changed to curve. So the moment it changed to curve, it means you can left click and hold and drag it freehand. Okay, but I want it to move in some angles, so I'll hold on shift. So anytime I move, it moves 15 or 15 degrees in addition or increment. So I can now enlarge it. As I said earlier on, I like to enlarge it from here proportionally. Enlarge the pastries like this and drag it somewhere here and click on OK. And after that, I'll duplicate the pastries. But to duplicate it, let me zoom in and bring it down here. But to duplicate it, you would hold on Alt whilst your mouse pointer is on the pastries. Okay, so you hold on Alt, the pastries is here, so you hold on Alt like this, and when you hold on Alt, you can see that the cursor has changed to 2. That's black and white, you could see. So if the moment it changes to 2, it means that you can hold and duplicate it. You can click and duplicate it to the left or to the right. So you can hold it like this and duplicate it nicely with free hand. But the moment you hold on Shift, it moves straight to the left. Okay, nicely in here. So I'm coming to create a Gaussian blur for one and leave one to be blending with the background. And leave one to blend with the background. Yes. So I'll create a Gaussian blur for this. And to create a motion blur for this, I'll select the text, come to the filter, blur and motion blur, and you rasterize it. So the moment you rasterize it, it changes from text to object. Okay, so you would add some distance to it so that, let me bring it here for you to see. Add some distance to it so that the blurs would be nice. So you can change the distance to 70. Okay, then you hit on OK. Then you reduce the opacity more to somewhere, let's choose 50. Okay, then you click on 50, and with the second text you reduce the opacity to somewhere 20, and let's see, let's reduce to 15, reduce to 10. I think let's reduce it to 8 is cool. So we will drag it to the top a little bit, pastries, and select free space here so that everything will be all right. So you can see here you have the pastries at the background and the motion blur at the other side. So what I'm going to do is to, let me enlarge this a little bit. Sorry, yes, let me enlarge it a little, bring it down, bring this one up a little bit, and I'll bring the lady in. Okay, but before that I want to group the entire background. Okay, so I'll click on the overflow, hold on Shift and click on the pastries text, Control J. Okay, but before that I'll bring the pattern to the top. You click and drag it to the top. So I'll click on overflow and the pastries pattern and Control J to group them and give it a name, background, nicely. So you select on the background, then you would lock the background nicely. So you will bring the lady in. Okay, so when you check the resources, you click and drag and bring the lady in here nicely. Then you select your OK. You bring the lady in here nicely. Then I think we have a shape here to cover up the contact us and the location. So we have a shape here. You select on the shape tool again, then you drag, you left click and drag the shape, and that's fill with the color here, the secondary color. Yes, automatically it has been filled. So you come to the move tool to move it. Okay, select your move tool to move it. Let's bring the lady to the top a little bit, but the rectangle has been selected. So you come here somewhere, free space here, and select the free space so that you can come back and select the lady again. So you select the lady and bring her up a little bit. and let me see if the size is okay. Yes, the size is okay now. So what we are going to do is, I think this one has a default stroke. See, it has a default stroke. So let's select this, come to the properties, and as I said, it has a stroke. So I want us to cancel the stroke. So you select the stroke and you cancel the stroke nicely. So now we don't have any stroke in here. So you take it inside the properties, back to the panel. So what we are going to do here is to add the text, anti-beauty pastries text here, and the images nicely in there. So let's lock this rectangle. So you come in here, let's align it. You can see this has a lot of space down here, so we align it to the center nicely and lock it. So let's lock the lady too as well. So I'll lock it. Let me rename it and call it lady. Yes. So I've locked everything nicely. We can add a text to it and move on. But I'll draw a shape beneath this anti-beauty pastries. Okay, I'll draw a nice rectangle shape. So I'll come back again, select the shape, come somewhere here. You see the stroke has been selected again by default. So after drawing it, we are going to cancel the stroke again. So we will draw the shape nicely here and leave it, and come back to the move tool, select the move tool so that we can position it nicely. And I want us to expand the shape. So to expand the shape, you would hover your mouse somewhere here, hold on shift, left click and drag it to your right. Okay, then you select it nicely, you bring it down, and as I said, we will deactivate the stroke. So we will cancel it somewhere here nicely like this. It's really cool, right? All right, so we are going to create this radius or border curves here, and there are two. So let's maintain the first curve to be normal, duplicate the second shape and apply the curve on it. So we will maintain this and duplicate the rectangle. And to duplicate the rectangle, you can hit on Ctrl J nicely like that, or you would right click on the rectangle, then you duplicate that particular layer. So it will come as copy, you hit on OK, then it has been added for you. Okay, so let me rename it for you guys to see it well. So this one will be the bottom. I'll click on it, duplicate by hitting Ctrl J on my keyboard, Ctrl J as in justice. So Ctrl J, and I would have a new one. Now call it top. Yes, that's the top shape, but with the same colors. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'll change the bottom color to be white. So to change the color from here, you would select the thumbnail, the layer thumbnail, double click on the small box there, and you drag your color picker to be white all the way to the white, and click on OK. So the bottom will be white. It is not visible because in layers the top, they are in the same shape. Okay, it is in the same shape, but the color top, you see, I'm finding it difficult to explain this simple thing, sorry for that, but the shapes are the same. Okay, so the one at the top would show than the one at the bottom. So let me undo it nicely here, and let's add the radius, the curves. Okay, these curves, let's add the border curves on the top one. So we will add the border curves using the border radius in the properties. So if you don't know where we found it, it's in the properties. You select the top, come to the properties in here, and you would drag it to your right nicely like this, and you will see that the curves is working. but make sure the locker is on. This is locker to make it proportionally equal. So you would drag it like this, and I want to take this one alone to the other side and take this one alone to the other side too. So I'll unlock it and take that side, that's this side, the left corner to the 0, and take the right address side to 0, so that it will be nicely like that, as you can see in here. Okay, so to delete the first top from the button, what we are going to do is to select this, that's the top one. We will hover our mouse in the box and hold on control. So immediately you hold on control, you could see some button showing up. See some selection from the auto selection here. You could see that it is showing up. So you hold on control, then you select on the top, so that the top shape will be selected nicely. And we are going to delete it from the button, from the button. So before we can do that, you select on the button, you right click, and you convert it to a normal object. That's, you rasterize it. So you right click and rasterize, which has been done already, and you come back to your top shape. So you move to the select and add some expansion. So you expand it, modify and expand. Select, you come to the select, modify and expand. So you expand it to somewhere 6. Let's see 6. Okay, 6 is quite cool. So you come back to the bottom and delete it from the selection. So you hit on backspace whilst the bottom has been selected. This is very serious. So you hit on the backspace and you hit on Control D to deselect. Okay, Control D to deselect, Control D to deselect everything nicely in here to get this particular shape. Okay, so you can bring your top shape to the top a little bit, but that's not the best way to do it. We can add selections to delete it again. So let's try it once more. You hold on control whilst it has been hovered, click on the top, come to select the top, select, modify, expand, and let's make it 8 and see. Click on 8 to add more selections so that we can delete from the bottom. So you, whilst it has been selected, you come back to the bottom, then you hit on your backspace so that it will be deleted nicely to add more space to the shape. So you, to deselect the selection, you hit on Control D, and nicely it has been deselected for you. So I'm going to group the two, hit on the first one, the second one, and bring it up a little bit. Okay, up a little bit, and leave it like that. So we have the shape here nicely in there. So let's add a text. Okay, let's add a text because the shapes, I think we are cool with the shapes now. So let's add a text. So let's select this one, the top one, and group them like how we did for the background. So Control G and group them nicely and name it card, and you lock it. Okay, you lock it. So we can add text to it. So you click on T or text here. You can select it from here, and it has been filled with this color. So we want to change it back to the primary color. So you select the text and you check it from here, and you hit on OK nicely. And also the font is still Kingston Alt, and we don't want Kingston Alt. We want the Akira Expand. So Akira Expand here. Then you click, then back to the font. Back to the text. You click on the text, select somewhere here. Oh, let's select the text somewhere here. Okay, select the text, then you name it auntie. Make sure your caps lock is on. So auntie pastry. Sorry, the color is still on, so let's delete it. To delete it, you select and hit on backspace. Okay, so let's start over. Let me take off the pastries colors. Let's see. Yes, so hit on T text and change the color to be brown. Let me bring it up a little bit and select here and give it the name anti. Sorry, hit on the enter and see. Beauty. Then you hit on the check. So from here you come to the move tool. Okay, you come to the move tool like this. You double click on anti beauty and center aligned. Center the text and you check it nicely and you drag it somewhere here. Okay, you can reduce it nicely. Then you hit on enter. Reduce it nicely in here. Okay, so we are done with the text. We need to add the chocolates. This thing. We need to add the ice cream. So you come to the tools, the resources. Then you add the ice cream. So you reduce it a little bit. Then you zoom in using the scroll wheel. Reduce it a little bit somewhere here. Nicely like this. You want to add the shadows. Okay, these shadows beneath it. So I'll click on the ice cream, the cupcake, and add a new layer. Okay, you come down here and add a new layer. When you add a new layer, then you select your brush. Okay, or you hit on your letter B to select your brush. And I think mine is small, so you come to this small pop-up here and add some size to the brush so that it will be big a little bit. Okay, yes, so you can select, you can click somewhere here. You click, you add a shadow to it. Then you reduce the shadow by holding on shift, selecting here and bringing it down nicely like this. Then you hit on enter. Then you take it back to the cupcake, but we need to reposition it beneath the cupcake. Okay, so we will reduce it a little bit like that nicely. Hit on enter and leave it. I think this is cool. All right, then we will proceed with the pastries using the same Kingston font. So I'll select on the anti-beauty text, hold on Alt. I want us to duplicate it again. So hold on Alt, then I'll click and bring it down. So I'll duplicate it and give it this. Click on the check, change the font to, you come to the character and you change the font to Kingston, nicely like this. Then you leave it somewhere here. We will change the color to, once it has been selected, you can even activate the color. See, that's really nice. So you position it to the top a little bit, and let's add this simple shape. It's in the resources. You come here then you leave it in there. Quite big, so you reduce it. You reduce it nicely like this. You zoom in with a scroll wheel, then you reduce it nicely like this, and also give it a color. But with this, if you try and select this, it's not working. You select it from the Activity Pastries color palette, it is not working. So what we are going to do is to give it a color overlay. Okay, so you come to the FX whilst the line has been selected. You come to the FX, select the FX, color overlay, drag it somewhere here, and you see the hash color has been activated on it. So you select the color, and now you can pick the color from here and click on OK, and we are good to go. Okay, that's quite cool. Let's enlarge anti-beauty a little bit. That would be nice. And I think our card is down, so let's bring it up a little bit. Select anti-beauty. Let's lock the card. So you select anti-beauty with the pastries and the layer. That's the shadow. Let me rename it to shadow. Okay, and the cake and the shape, the line shape. So we are going to group all of them to be one. Okay, so we will have anti-beauty. Come here, hold on the shift and select on the line so that all we selected. Control Gen to group them and name it as main text. Nicely, main text. That is that. So let's be fast and add the services. Okay, so we will draw a shape nicely here, and I want us to make use of the ruler. Okay, I want us to make use of the ruler. So let's select, I've logged it. Let's open the card, select it like this, drag the ruler. You hover your mouse here, then you left click and drag, a ruler will come out, then you would paste it. Sorry, you will leave it, you release it close to the shape. You have a snap, so immediately you feel that particular snap, you leave it. Yes, you leave it like that, then you would lock it. I want us to make use of the ruler, so I'll come to the shape, select the shape, try to select draw a rectangle nicely. The stroke is by default activated, so I'll deactivate it, and I'll change the shape, the color to be white like this, cream like that. So I'll come to the move to properties and do same to this. As I said, the locker is not selected, so I'll select the locker and do that so that all of the major points will be in circle form. So this is very nice, the shape, and I'll add the services to it, and the font is Lufga or Nexa. So I'll come to the text, hit on T, and I'll change the text to, let me see, Lufga. Okay, I have Lufga on it, but let me do it Nexa. Good. Let me do it nicely like this. Let me change it to Lufga. Okay, I like that font, and reduce the spacing to 0. This is a rectangle, so I'll bring the rectangle out of the box and place the services on it, but it's not showing because they are all, the two are with the same color. So I'll change the color to be chocolate, and you can see it nicely here. So to center the text together with the rectangle. I'll select the text, the rectangle, and click on the align horizontal centers and align horizontal, and it will be nicely positioned here. That's quite simple. So let me add the ice cream, pastries, and so on. So I'll duplicate the services, okay, and change the color because the color will be the same as the background. So I'll change the color here to white. You can also even pick from the page. It's not compulsory to come to Anti-Beauty Pastries and be doing that. So I'll change the font weight to regular, and we have ice cream, pastries, pure water, sobolo, cocoa drink, and so on. So we have ice cream, pastries, pure water, drag it somewhere here, sobolo, cocoa drink, soya milk, come in here, sobolo, cocoa, sorry, soya milk, and what? Pineapple juice and more. So we have pineapple and more. So I'll click on a check, double click, and as you can see here, you align it to the right nicely. And we need to check on the spacing, okay? So this is for the horizontal spacing, this is the vertical spacing. So I'll change the spacing to somewhere 3 and see. 3 is okay for us. So I'll select all together with the services and bring it up a little bit. Nicely like that. So it's left with the images here. So we will draw a simple shape, duplicate the shapes, and clip the images in. So what we are going to do real quick is select the rectangle, draw a shape, a nice shape, free shape here, and you can do this. Take the, add some borders, deactivate the stroke, and you leave it like that, okay? So you come back to the move tool, hold on your alt and duplicate it nicely. Select both and duplicate them again to the button. And select all by holding shift. You select this. Let me show you. Select this, hold shift, select, select, select. Then you reduce them together nicely and position it. Position it the line like this, alignment. I'll delete the 2 again. Now reduce the, I'll reduce the border radius a little bit. Select them again and hold on alt like this. Hold on shift 2 and drag it, sorry, the 2, and drag it down nicely like that. That would be cool. So I'll add the images to these ones. So I'll come back, select the first pastries, the ice cream, pineapple juice, and the sobolo all together. Sorry, all together and bring them here. I'll select nicely and all has been imported. Okay, so I'll select the first shape and bring the ice cream to the shape. Okay, I'll bring it at the top of the shape. That's the ice cream to this shape. So I'll label it first, or maybe 1 to be simple. This is the second shape, right? So I'll double click 2. This is the third shape, double click 3. This is the fourth shape, double click 4 and hit on enter. That's all, so that it will be easy. So we are starting with the pastries. Okay, so let me bring this one up, and with the 1 we are starting with pastry. So I'll bring the pastries on top of the 1 and make sure the eye is on, okay, so that it will be visible. Then I'll reduce it so that it will be quite the size of the shape. And now to place it inside or to clip it inside, you will right click on the pastries and you would create clipping mask like this. That's really simple. We are done with the first one. Move to the second one. Drag the ice cream to the on top of the second one. Let me see the second one. That's so blue, right? So let me take it back. Bring so blue to the second one. Make sure it is on. Reduce the size to the shape of it like this. Let's clip it inside, but this time round you would make sure the mouse pointer is in between the 2 and the so below. Whilst you are holding alt, you could see this icon will come in, meaning the so below should be clipped in the shape. So when you click on it, you take it inside, which is really simple. Okay, so you can try on the third one like that. You bring the ice cream, let's see it from here. You bring the ice cream on top of the tray. Make sure the eye is on. Reduce the size a little bit. Click on enter. Use the size a little bit nicely. In here, click on enter again. And you can hover. You see it's not coming, but immediately you hold on the alt, you will see the clipping shape. So when you click on it nicely, that icon will clip it inside for you. And with the last one, activate the or put the pineapple on, the eye on, reduce it a little bit. And what I do is when I click on enter, Control Alt Gen, I'll take it in straight forward. That's shortcut for me. Yeah, so we are cool with this one. I think we need to bring back the pastries and the text and so on. Yeah, which is quite, we are reaching the target. Really simple, eh? Yeah, so we need to add this shape for the location and the contact. So you click on the shape, then you draw your shape nicely. You add a little border, but it is filled with the same color. So you come back here, click on it, it has been filled. Then you reduce, you add a little border radius, come back like this nicely. It is still activated. You come back to the move to, then you position it nicely. Okay, but I want to use the same text for the contact acts on and the numbers. So I'll come here, click on it, hold on alt, duplicate. That means I will click on it, hold on shift and bring it down nicely here, but the colors are the same, so I'll just change it to this. Simple. Okay, so I'll drag it up here. I'm doing that using the space bar. Immediately you hold the space bar on the flyer, it will change to hand tool, so you can click and drag it down or click and drag it to the top. Okay, that's really simple. So let's change it to contact us on. That's really nice here. And I want to duplicate it, so I'll hold on Alt and duplicate it again and change it to the number. So I'm using my number. So I'll change the font to be Nexa. That's Nexa bold nicely here, and check on this. Can reduce it nicely here, but I think the contact us has a little bit of fading. What I did was, let me reduce it a little bit. You click on it, you click on it, then you take it to somewhere 70. That's really nice. So you will click on this, duplicate it. On top of it, you will drag the, let me delete it and show you. You duplicate the text, and then you will bring the text all the way to the top. Then you will change it to this color. When you drag it, it will be on the shape. I will to break. Let's make it Kaswa. Maybe somewhere Bangkok. Then we are cool. Then you add a location icon. So you bring it down, reduce it a little bit. And we will do same as we did to the line. So you click on it, FX, color overlay. That's changed to red, but we will change it to the same color. Okay, so okay, from here, let me reduce it a little bit. We have Kaswa of Angkor here. Let me change it to the same name. I will to Breku. Roman School Road. I'll click on the location and the text and reduce all, okay, so that it will fit in nicely. Have a lot of room to breathe nicely like this, and change the Roman School Road to Nexa regular, or regular like this, or Lufga. Okay, Lufga will be cool. So with this, we go for medium and change the Roman to regular or light, which will be very nice. Now we are done with the flyer, but we have some blending modes in here that we want to add it. Okay, and let me show you real quick. So you select the anti-beauty, then beside anti-beauty you double click to open the layer style. Okay, then you come to the gradient overlay. The gradient overlay is to mix two colors, okay, at the same time, but let's increase the scale to somewhere 150. So we are going to change the first color, that's the first color, from left to right. So the color stop from here will be this, and the color stop from here will be, let's pick the pineapple color. Okay, and let's click on OK. So we are going to change the blending mode to overlay. And when we change the blending mode to overlay, we could see that the color is too dark. Let me go back and show you. Let me zoom in. Let me close the swatches and zoom in. It's very important with the color overlay. So I'll come here to the gradient overlay, click on the overlay. With the left stop, you click on the color, give it the background, and with the right stop, I think I have to go back to the orange like this nicely. Come back. Oh, sorry. Okay, it's here. Color overlay. Then I'll increase the scale and reduce it. Sorry, change the blending mode to color overlay. So I'll bring it somewhere here nicely. So to be the same, for this one, as you can see. You see, yeah. So what you're going to do is to duplicate the color overlay. So you right click and copy the layer style and paste it on the shape. So you click on the shape, you right click again, and you paste layer style so that it will be nicely activated there. But it seems it is too dark. It is too dark. So let's go back to the overlay. Click on the overlay and take the opacity down. So you click on the top black here and take the opacity down nicely like that to 0. Then you click on OK. And you do same to the first one, to anti-beauty's own. So when you select anti-beauty, to come here, come to the overlay, you double click, you click on the overlay, you select the top one and take the opacity all the way to 0. Then you click on OK so that it will maintain the exact background color without adding additional color to become black. That is the reason why I took it to 0. I think we are cool with it, but the video is getting long. I did other what do you call it? I did some editings to the picture, and but I think we have to end here. Okay, we have to end here. And if you check the flyer very well, you can see some oval shapes in there and another oval shapes in there. We will try that particular thing on our next video. Sorry, in our next video. Okay, so I think we are good to go. And that's all. That's all for this particular artwork. So if you find this design interesting, you can like and subscribe, and we move to the different design as well. Thank you. Bye bye.